Let's freaking go. Are you kidding me? We have a really fun live stream lined up for you today. We got some LSU tackle football recruiting to talk about. Is Eli Holstein going to be the quarterback for LSU in the class of 2023? Obviously, LSU today got some good news that Jaden Rashada listed LSU in his top 7. Also, Dante Moore is still in LSU stratosphere. I know some of you are Ricky Collins believers. So there is so much for us to get to tonight. Obviously, that is just recruiting. We're going to talk a little bit about, to me, the biggest story of the day, which is LSU will be primetime television Saturday night, September 4th, Florida mother effing state in the Superdome. Are you freaking kidding me? Now, I know a lot of you know about our friends at the Pressy Collection and PressyCollection.com. A few of you have asked me about my dear beloved's engagement ring. I got it from Pressy Collection. You can also learn about our new watch initiative, Presley Collection, PressleyCollection.com. And boom, if you order one of these watches, as in you pre-order it, guess what? If you put in that promo code PHL, you're getting an extra $30 off, $99.99 for that wonderful DBU watch, baby. How about them pals? We'll talk about the draft lottery a little bit later, but mostly, as you guys know, we are an LSU football channel, okay? Collins is a Purdue guy. Obviously, he is committed to Purdue, but if LSU turned up the heat, he would stay at home. But look, Purdue puts out some good skill position guys. Obviously, Drew Brees being one of them. I'm wearing my Drew Brees shirt tonight after he said he might be coming back. Are you kidding me, Drew? I know you were probably being sarcastic, but a little bit later, we will touch on this. I do believe Drew Brees wasn't fully being sarcastic. I do think there's a piece of him that wants to come back and play actual NFL football. Again, Akon and LGZ. Sunday, September 4th. Yeah, that's right. I apologize, Mike. I'm sorry for accidentally saying college football is played on Saturday because pretty much most of the games are played on Saturday. But you are right. It is a Sunday night game. So my apologies because I'm an idiot. Let's see. What's up, Skipper? Good to see you, my friend. A lot to get to today. Look, I want to talk about something that I've been working on. And tomorrow on the PHL community page, I want you to take a look at my post, okay? It will drop tomorrow at noon. What is the number one attribute physically that you look for in a running back? Okay? I want you right now just to comment the answer to that question. What is the number one trait that you normally look for from a running back? Is it speed? Is it strength? Is it height? Is it weight? Is it hand size? Is it the level of competition? What is the one thing that stands out to you the most when it comes to SEC running backs and in particular LSU running backs? What's up, Big Jake? LA Mom, it will drop tomorrow at noon. It'll be on our community page. And I'll show you a tutorial of how to get to that. It'll pop up in your feed regardless. Rob, there you are. What's up, Cliff? Strength and balance and power, speed. So, LA Mom, I would normally say speed, but if you look at some of the best LSU running backs, so let's take Leonard Fournette. Like, he had elite speed. If you were to rate his speed on a scale of 1 to Trendon Holiday, he's probably an 8.5 or a 9 when it comes to speed. But there have been other really good LSU running backs that weren't really all that fast. Clyde wasn't a burner. Jacob Hester wasn't a burner. But they were really good football players. Stephen Ridley, Charles Scott, that wasn't their best attribute. So speed is something that I look at, but I've been doing a deep dive because a lot of you have sent me the clips of Trey Holly's high school tape. And I've been studying Trey Holly. I've been trying to determine if he's going to be the next great back at LSU because we are in a situation where there isn't a clear cut running back of the future right now on LSU's roster. I was really high on Trevante Citizen. I hope Trevante Citizen comes back to LSU at some point. I do think he's going to be really good at Miami. I'm glad he didn't go to another SEC school. That at least is a very good thing. So, for me, I feel as if there's so many different ways you can go with the number one attribute when it comes to predicting LSU running back success. Because look, when it comes to running backs, most of the greats were elite recruits, top 100 guys. Fournette and Guice obviously roll off the top of your tongue. And then, if you want to stretch it out to the 150, that'll be guys like, Jeremy Hill. But still, there were a lot of lower ranked running backs that turned out to be some of the best running backs ever at LSU. Jacob Hester, Clyde, Stephen Ridley was really good. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. Daniel says breakaway speed. Big Al says quickness. It's obviously a really good one. Big Al, I hope everything's going good in Nashville, Vegas. There's Rob G. So, obviously, I'm working on a deep dive surrounding Trey Holly because he is, to me, the most exciting. His tape is the most exciting tape I've seen since Fournette. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I think you're the best, right? Like, for instance, I really like Trevante Citizen a lot. I liked him more than Le'Veon Moss. I liked him more than Kendrick Law, even though, he ended up being a wide receiver. I just really like Citizen. That was just my own personal evaluation of him. I like him better as a prospect physically, but his tape isn't better than Trey Holly's. It just isn't. So it's very, very interesting. Balance or vision. There you go. So once again, as always, the best way to get your question to the front of the line, Venmo, Cash App, or Super Chat at Carter the Power. The Super Chat is wide open. It goes a long way to help this channel grow. We just upgraded some facilities around here, some software stuff. So for what we stream on here, it goes a long way helping build, because the money I use from your donation is actually all of it normally goes to reinvesting back into the channel. So, a lot of us have brought up, John Emery, right? And we've been talking about John Emery since I've started this channel. I remember my first video was right after the national championship game for this channel. And, John Emery has just been at the tip of our tongue for so long. And we look so heavily at the capital that was used on John Emery to come to LSU, right? As in, you hear that term all the time, draft capital, when it comes to fantasy football and just pro football in general. Recruiting capital is still a thing, as in your star rating. It sticks with you, right? And the truth is, if John Emery wasn't a 5-star prospect, we probably wouldn't feel as great as we do about him breaking out potentially next year. So please keep that in mind, because there is so much that can happen from here until the start of the season. And let's also keep this in mind as well. Armani Goodwin and Trey Bradford had really good springs. They were available. They were healthy. Both of those guys have really put in the work. You could see that they both looked really good in the spring game. So it's going to be really interesting to see how both of those guys step forward going into next year. Let's see here. Thank you, Cliff, for the super chat. I really appreciate you, my friend. The president of PHL is in the building. You gotta love it. I gotta say this. Last time I was in Baton Rouge. Cliff made me the most delicious pasta I've ever had in my life. It's kind of crazy, right? Like, I don't think I ever, what's up, Jared? I don't think I ever had um, pasta in Paris. And I think the reason why is because I had it from Cliff, and that was the best pasta I've ever had. There we go. There we go. All right, Cliff, the floor is yours. You get to pick whichever topic you want to go to. If not, we'll just continue with what I had planned for tonight's live stream. I wanted to talk a little bit about uh, prospect evaluation, right? When it comes to evaluating um, quarterbacks, like we all have our different opinions on who the best quarterback is going to be. Some of you have reached out to me and said, Carter, I think Jaden Rashada is the best quarterback for LSU. And look, his tape is really good. I still like Dante Moore a little bit more than Rashada. I think they're both very similar. They're both pocket quarterbacks with a little dual threat ability. I think for me, I might be totally wrong on this. I know this is, not the normal opinion of these two classes. I still like the 2022 crop a little bit better than the 2023 crops of quarterbacks. I know that I'm probably one of the few that actually feels that way, but I outside of Nico and Dante, I'm a little up in the air on Malachi Nelson. I know that doesn't seem normal, and I'm also not as high on Arch Manning as most. I don't think he is just this totally overrated prospect, and I also don't think he has this consensus number one overall recruiting ranking because of his last name. I think that's part of it. I do think he's a really good prospect. I just don't know if he is, to me, like consensus number one. Like I don't see Trevor Lawrence in him. I like physically. I don't know if he is so much better than everyone else the way Trevor Lawrence was going into his true freshman season. So it's very, very fascinating. Let's put Cliff Super Chat up there. I think for me, the best thing for LSU is to hopefully just land any quarterback at this point. Um, but we'll see. There's so much that can happen over these next few months, and the reason why we're talking so much about quarterback, it's not only it's the most important position, it's also the position that commits the earliest. So it's very, very fascinating. Now, as far as the current team is concerned, if you guys want to go back and talk more recruiting, I'm more than happy to talk more recruiting. But as far as the current team, I still feel, we had such a heavy debate last week with our videos that we did on Vegas win totals. We had so much in our last live stream about what the actual win total will be. I was on Blake's channel last night, and he and I went back and forth over what LSU's win projection should actually be. I do think LSU's schedule is, and thank you so much, the Vener's chatter. I appreciate you. I do think for me, and this could be totally off base, and I understand that this is an LSU channel, and I'm really excited about Brian Kelly. I do think for me, it's very important to really think about LSU's chances of being a 10-win team. And the reason why I say that is, yes, Brian Kelly is a better coach than Ed Orgeron. Yes, we are trending in the right direction. Yes, the transfer portal stretching out to 32 players has helped rebuild this roster. But so much of college football, more than any other sport, has to do with who you play more than you, right? Take every other single sport, who you play just doesn't matter as much. It matters quite a bit in the NFL, but it's not everything. In college football, what conference you're in, when you play a certain team is everything. It really is. And, for me, I just don't like the way some of the things shaped up for this LSU schedule next year. I think the quarterbacks that that LSU will face next year, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks, right? You go back to 2019 when LSU made its run to the national championship. We played a lot of bad quarterbacks. Now, it wouldn't have mattered. We would have won each and every one of those games because LSU is the greatest team of all time. But LSU played a lot of bad quarterbacks this year. And it was just a few years that this change happened. The quarterback play is just so much better in the SEC. It just is. In 2019, yes, we had to play Tua. Yes, we had to play a few other really good quarterbacks. Trask is one of them, and a few in the playoffs. But for the most part, it was a bunch of true freshman quarterbacks and just bad quarterback play. Now, all the quarterbacks LSU is going to play during the SEC schedule either has experience or is really, really, really good. So we'll see. Do with that information what you will. It's going to just be more difficult this year for Brian Kelly to have a 9 or 10 win season. And I say that trying to temper some expectations just a little bit. I know I'm supposed to be on here saying, yeah, Brian Kelly. He's won every game as a favorite. In his last 40 games, he's won every game as a favorite. 94% of the time when he is a favorite, he wins. There might not be a lot of games LSU's favored in, though, this year. And a lot of it comes down to that first game versus Florida State. So could be a wild year, and I'm looking forward to it, baby. Thank you so much, LA Mom 2020. You get to pick the next topic. We're still waiting for Cliff to pick his topic. But yeah, as far as LSU news is concerned, like I said, this little period from the spring game to now is a little bit of a dead period. So on Thursday night's live stream, we're going to mix things up a little bit. On Thursday night, we are going to talk about, to me, the best quarterbacks to ever play at LSU. All right. Not including Joe Burrow. So don't forget, Thursday night, we're going to talk about, was Jamarcus Russell better than Matt Flynn? That's coming up on Thursday. I'll make sure I write that down. We're going to be doing a little bit of retrospective stuff. Who's your favorite LSU players of all time? I get that a lot. So I get that question a lot. So I'm going to share a few of my favorite personal LSU Tigers. So really excited about that. Thank you, Pegasus. Good to see you again. What is our best weapon against these good QBs? The pass rush. For me, the best thing you can do, LA Mom 2020. Okay. Let's actually pull this up. And I think you tweeted me not too long ago. Okay. Let me pull up this year's schedule. Okay. Rob, thank you for the super chat. You get to pick the next topic. I want you to look at this LA Mom 2020 at this 2022 schedule. Okay. You notice one thing that's very interesting about the schedule is the amount of dual threat quarterbacks, right? Look at all the dual threat quarterbacks that are on the schedule. Florida State, a dual threat quarterback. Mississippi State, pocket quarterback, but really good. Auburn, another pocket quarterback that's really good. But then you go dual threat, pocket, bye week, then a dual threat, then a dual threat Texas A&M. I think Haynes King is going to beat out Max Johnson, and he is a dual threat weapon. And Max himself has a little bit of mobility. So the first thing you have to do, LA Mod 2020, when it comes to, the pass rush and defending it, the number one thing is keeping your rush lanes. And I think last year, LSU did a better job of mixing up blitzes and blitzing from different angles and mixing up pass rush lanes to where they weren't they weren't getting beat with dual threat quarterbacks with their legs. And that obviously did a lot for our defense when we started mixing things up. So here's a good example of it, LA Mom. Two quarterbacks that were playing this year, who were two of the quarterbacks in the SEC, had two of their worst games against LSU, KJ Jefferson and Bryce Young. Well, it's because our defense mixes things up. So when you play good quarterbacks, you got to give them a bunch of different looks. The second thing you have to do with your pass rushes, not only get home, but get speed on the field, right? Be able to bring these guys down when you get back there. So that's going to be really tough, right? So thank you so much, Ellie Mom, for your generous super chat. I really do appreciate your support of the channel. I just love that. I love seeing diverse viewers on this channel. Let me see what's happening. Oh, yeah, Mark, thanks for liking my tweet. I appreciate you. Rob says, anything LSU football I'm good with? There you go. It's a good question. It's a good thing. I played for Mandeville, and Alan Risher played for Salmon. I told my dad if I played linebacker, I was going to try and break his arm. My dad threatened to kick me out because he was committed to LSU. I freaking love that. I actually knew Alan Risher really well when I lived in Baton Rouge. He would come on our KLSU radio station a lot. Love me some Alan Risher. My dad is a good man. Oh, you're telling Big Al that his dad was a good man. That is a good story, Big Al. You're my guy, man. I love this. Look at the PHL family just saying hi to everybody. It's good stuff, baby. Gotta love it. You know, during these dead periods, only the diehards are here, baby. Let's go. Something else that I wanted to get into tonight regarding Brian Kelly is, roster depth. What he's going to do with these final two transfer portal slots. I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going to go in. I think that they probably would have wanted those slots to be filled a little quicker. But, a lot of things didn't go their way when it comes to that, right? The Tyler Steen thing didn't go their way. He ended up going to Alabama, and that didn't really shock anyone. But for the most part, if you were to say, did LSU land most of the transfer portal guys that they were after, you would say yes, right? What was LSU really ever in it for a guy like Drew Sanders or Jahmyr Gibbs or anyone like that? Probably not, right? So, for me, as far as like roster depth is concerned, I do feel LSU's roster is obviously lacking some depth at tight end. I do think one thing to keep in mind about the tight end depth, though, is only one actually plays. So that means you need about 3 tight ends. Where you should be a little bit more concerned about depth are these positions where there's oftentimes 3 or more players on the field at that position. At wide receiver, we have plenty of depth. But on the offensive line and in the secondary is where you need a lot of depth to win in the SEC. In particular, the defensive backfield, because a lot of those guys do become valuable special teamers. But, on the offensive line, you still got to figure out what you want out of your center. You still got to figure out who your backup center is going to be. You still got to figure out who your swing offensive linemen are going to be, guys that are really good and can play multiple positions. It should be a lot of fun figuring this out over the next couple of weeks. What's up, True? Pin it. You said pin it and screenshot it. So here's your opportunity, Mark. I am pointing at your prediction right here. This is your opportunity, Mark, to screenshot it. Look, I'm pointing at it. I'm even looking straight at the camera. Look at that. Pointing at Mark, let me know when you get the screenshot. You're getting your opportunity to get the screenshot. So there you go. LA Mom, I like your energy here. You just got a lot of people excited, but that's basketball. Huh? 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 But he was a good player. Baby Shaq, they got committed, the 4-star, 7-foot guy. I don't know a whole lot about him. But that's obviously really good stuff for LSU basketball. Let's see here. I can't believe Cliff, one of our best commenters, didn't even want to ask a question, just wanted to donate. I love that, baby. Gotta love it. The next thing I want to do, as far as this live stream is concerned, I do want to get into how I feel about special teams. A lot of you have asked me about special teams over the next couple of weeks. Uh, I don't know if I want to do a special teams deep dive just yet because we still don't know what's going to happen at punter. I still think the guy coming in from Notre Dame is going to win, the Bramlett guy. I do think also LSU football should really be happy that a guy like Kobe Fields came in, a very willing special teamer, a guy that that could play multiple positions on special teams, kickoff and punt team. Those kind of guys, those West Week kind of guys, would be huge for kickoff and punt coverage. A Jordan Allen could be someone that steps in and helps right away in that aspect. So it should be a lot of fun. I love this. Go Liverpool. Let's go. Got a big result today. 8-5 would be a good season. This is year one of a total rebuild. Things take time unless you're Kim Mulkey. Hey, look, even with Kim Mulkey, I mean, Kim Mulkey should have been one and done in the tournament, but lucky enough, we came back versus Jackson State. But yeah, 8-5 would be pretty crazy to play 13 games at 8-5, but I'll take it. I'll take 8-4, or you know, I don't want 7-5. I think 8-4 would be really good with this schedule. And as you guys saw last week, the championship year is actually 2023, the next year. So if you want to see why I say 2023 is the championship year for LSU, not this year, but the next year, I did a video. It is on the PHL page. It says 2024 CFP on the thumbnail. It's a picture of Brian Kelly. You can click that video, and I share all the reasons why all the data backs up that LSU will make a run for the college football playoff in 2023, which is technically the 2024 playoff. So there you go. There you go. I didn't know Lon was a Liverpool fan. Gotta love it, man. Like the button. Actually like the button, but please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Did I go to a Liverpool match? I did, and I cried. Congrats on engagement. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Katie, good to see you again. Long time no see. Gotta love Katie. And we go to Tuscaloosa, absolutely. Ironically, we've played better in Tuscaloosa than Baton Rouge, but I don't know why that is. I think some of it is obviously, having Joe Burrow that one year, but I think some of it is pressure, though, Katie. I really do. I think if you're leading up to that full bye week and it's at home and it's after Halloween and there's just so much hype leading into that game, I think traveling allows you to more focus on the game itself, right? Tyler, thank you for the super chat. Tyler, you get to pick the next topic. I really appreciate it. All these little super chats add up, baby. It really does go a long way. Thank you guys so much. I mean, it's what I do. This is my full time dream. It's your donations that make it happen. Thank you so much, Tyler. I really appreciate it. How would 2023 be the year if our current team isn't great? We would need that recruiting class plus a year of development. Well, it's because so much changes year to year in college football. You can have a not so great team and still put together a college football playoff run the next year, right? Especially with the way the SEC is now. Um, but you do bring up a good point as well. A lot of LSU's successful years were preceded by a successful team, right? Um, but yeah, 2023, the reason why I think 2023 is going to be a big year. I won't get too far into it because we did that video recently on the topic. Rob, thank you again. Um, the super chat. Uh, Something else about 2023 is that 2021 class will be hitting their prime year. And I think that 2021 class for LSU is really special. It's a Mason Smith, Malik Neighbors, Jack Besh, Garrett Nussmeier year, right? And if you think Nuss is really a special quarterback, some of you do, I think he's really good. Um, then 2023 should be a good run. Let's go to Tyler Super Chat. He wants to talk corner. I love it. I love when I get a very specific question on a super chat because, only on this channel, this is a one place you can go to where any diehard LSU football question will be answered. If I don't know a lot about the topic, I'll try my best to answer it. So if you super chat a question about Charlie McClendon, I will get Skipper to answer it, right? Because he knows the Charlie Mack era unlike any other on this channel. In fact, as many of you know, Charlie Mack's grandson is a big supporter of the channel, which is obviously really cool, knowing that, Charlie Mack's a big part of LSU's history. A lot of you have different opinions on him. That's obviously really cool. And he has sent me some really cool photos and stuff, and I sent him a bunch of memorabilia that I had. But so shout out to you, Scott. I don't know if Scott's watching right now. But yeah, I just love these questions like this. Interested to see the ULL kid. So Makai Gardner, okay? Let's talk a little bit about Makai Gardner, Tyler. I'm really happy you brought him up. He had a really good spring game, right? So he really only got beat on that perfectly thrown ball from Jaden Daniels to Brian Thomas Jr. But I will add that it wasn't that he got burnt. In fact, he timed his jump to perfection. The ball literally floated right past his arm like that. It should have been deflected. He timed his jump. He turned his head. It was legit a millimeter away from his arm. So he was step for step. He was stride for stride. He made the quarterbacks have to beat him on perfectly thrown balls. Now, once again, we were playing very simple stuff. Still, Makai Gardner looked really good going up against a really good group of receivers. So I like that. There's different opinions on him. I just based on the experience of Sevyn Banks and Jarek Bernard Converse, both of those guys have far more big game experience than Gardner does, in particular Sevyn Banks, but also Jarek Bernard Converse, who has been a very productive player at Oklahoma State. That does make you feel a lot better about that cornerback room. And look, Sevyn Banks, Blake and I talked about him privately. This guy is really high on some draft boards. And the reason why he is he's 6'2", super athletic, amazing ball skills, and only his medicals is what's knocked him down. So for me, Sevyn Banks is a guy that has a lot of upside. And it made every bit of sense to try and get him to see if he can get back to his full health. So those three transfers are going to be the guys that are going to lead this cornerback room. It's a little bit weird, right? Three guys that none of us even knew their names before this season. I mean, I'd heard of Sevyn Banks and I'd seen Converse and Bedlam, whatever. This is new. This is new to have this many transfers just totally take over a room. Now, Tyler, it goes a little bit deeper than that, though. Some of you believe in Demarius McGee. Some of you believe in Ray Darius Jones. I know there is a huge contingent of LaTerrence Welsh fans on this channel. We'll see. We'll see. I will say this about Welch. He has been very hurt over these past couple of seasons. And if he is healthy, he's obviously talented enough to help LSU out right away. But for me, Tyler, I think he is going to be more of a year two guy. I hope I'm wrong about that. And to me, the guy that's very interesting and he's flying way under the radar is the Thompson Robinson kid, the kid out of Texas. What? Uh, I'm trying to remember. Watahuchi, Texas. He runs sub 11 100-meter dash. His tape was really good. He was very physical. He actually had some good plays as a tackler. A lot of people view him as just a speed corner. He is a very interesting player coming in, and he was a late add to this last 2022 cycle. Very athletic. He could be the fastest corner on this team right now. So that's obviously really good stuff. And then obviously, Tyler, as a lot of you know, this has been one of our most popular videos. My film breakdown yesterday of Dalen Austin coming in from California as a part of the 2023 class, which makes it 3 defensive backs committed to LSU, which goes back and look, when I have strong opinions on this channel, I get flack for it. And I got a lot of heat for what I said about Corey Raymond when he chose to go to Florida. I said DBU would still remain the same and the recruiting wouldn't slow down. And by far, the position that LSU has dominated in recruiting in 2023 has been defensive back. So, once again, that doesn't mean that Corey wasn't a bad coach. It's just LSU is DBU, and a lot of DBs still want to play at LSU. So hopefully that continues. Hopefully LSU gets Curly Reed. Hopefully LSU gets Derek Williams. If that happens, that is a pretty ridiculous defensive back call with two new DB coaches. So really excited about that. What's going on, Aaron? Seven Banks is a one and done guy. I believe Converse is as well. Same thing for Joe Big Play Fouché. I think all 3 of those guys are definitely going to be gone. I would guess Greg Brooks as well. I think he still has a year left after this. But we'll see. Yeah, Tyler, at least there's good competition and guys are willing to compete. True. But the thing that's going to be a little bit interesting, Tyler, is it's been a long time since LSU went into a season without one holy crap, that dude is a dude corner, right? So long with a bona fide stud at corner every single season. Every single season. So going into this year, we had obviously Rickson Stingley. The year before, we had Stingley. The year before that, going into the year, we had Christian Fulton, who everyone knew was good. For so long, LSU has had a holy crap, that dude is a dude corner, like a bona fide guy that we knew would go in the first 60 picks of the NFL draft. This is the first year in a while where that's not the case. So, yes, there's good competition, but it is also kind of scary because most college cornerbacks aren't any good, right? It's a really difficult position to play. It's a difficult position to get used to, and it's hard to find guys that can cover, especially now with how good these receivers and quarterbacks are. So yeah, what's up, Bang Hammers? Good to see it. Trey Holly is a speedster. He's got really good speed. Is it like Fournette special? Probably not, right? But it's really good. I mean, Trey Holly's really fast. Have you had a working out with Justin Jefferson? That's cool. So there you go. So Kyle says he is a Makai Gardner believer. I don't know if that's funny or not. I guess we had two different opinions of comedy. Um, we've hit 69. We always know we're at 69 right now. Huh? 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 Nice. Gotta love it, baby. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Let's go. I was actually going to talk about Trey Holly a little bit more, but I always love a super chat, and I love it even more when it's about Harold Perkins. What position is Harold going to end up playing? It's a good question. Rob, you know how much I love this guy. You really do. Like, he was my number one player in 2022, period, more than Walter Nolan or any of them. And that was when he was committed to Texas A&M. I felt that way. Um, Tevin says linebacker, but what kind of linebacker? Is he going to be an off linebacker? Is he going to be a pass rushing linebacker, an edge linebacker, a jack linebacker? Or is he going to play the rover? Is he going to play the Mike? What is his best position? Is his best position even on defense? And Rob, you and I have talked about this as far as Harold Perkins is concerned. Is his best position running back? For me, I think the first thing is Harold Perkins is going to be used on special teams, right? I do think they'll use him the same way uh, that they use like a Jarvis Landry on kickoff team, and you just let him go down there and let him make plays. I think the best thing for him, Rob, to start is just to put him out there as a situational pass rusher. So I think that's the best thing. And then after that, you kind of ease him into different roles. Maybe he's a safety, like just say box safety. You it's difficult. And this kind of goes along with what Michael's saying here, and we've talked about this on the channel as well. Harold Perkins isn't going to be the same refined pass rusher as a Jaquelin Roy is. The one thing, though, is he is going to be more athletic than all the quarterbacks we will face next year. Okay? So what that means is you're not going to see the same thing that happened at LSU last year, which is quarterbacks were able to whirling Derbyshire their way around defenses. They were able to spin around, spin backwards, run 50 yards backwards, kind of like what we saw at Bo Nix. We just could never bring him down. With Harold Perkins, it's a little bit different because he is a hyena. He is an assassin when he comes to bring you down to the ground. He will relentlessly pursue you until you are in the turf. And the second thing is he's got really, really good ball skills. So, you could see strip sacks. You could see bat the football up in the air and pick it off kind of plays. And LSU needs that. It would be nice to get a playmaker out there who can force those fumbles, right? So, you know, we'll see the best way to use them. But the one thing I would do to start is get him on the field on these third and longs and blitz them, drop them into coverage, and do a lot of different things such as that. Wiggins, Welch, and Perkins. Yeah, it's just tough to see. It's really tough to say. So once again, thank you so much, Rob, for your super chat. And I need to do a better job of this. The treasurer PHL Big Al always gets on me about this. If you are new to the channel, okay, please hit the subscribe button. Like I guarantee you, if you're a diehard LSU football fan, you are going to love this channel. Okay, so hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, goes a long way. And once again, thanks to our friends at Presley Collection and PresleyCollection.com. Don't forget, get on over and get your DBU watches. Go to PresleyCollection.com. If you type in the promo code PHL, you're getting an extra $30 off for a $99 watch for the new season. You want to check it out. Once again, Presley Collection, PresleyCollection.com. So this happens a lot. And I do want to say this as far as like the live streams are concerned. So sometimes I see comments on a topic from earlier in the live stream. What can happen is when you join a live stream and it's like 15 or 20 minutes in, sometimes you'll accidentally scroll back to the beginning of the live stream and start then, right? And what you should do is, so you could chat with everyone else, or if you just want to watch from the beginning, you can do whatever you want. You got to make sure you're watching the current live portion of the live stream. So, it's a little bit different than a pre-recorded video where, you want to start at the beginning, right? So that's just a note. Make sure if you are jumping into a live stream late that you are caught up and you actually are live. I love it, man. Larry, I appreciate it, my man. You never quit. Carter is a man. I never do quit, man. I'm going to keep doing this until I can't anymore. And not going to lie, today personally was a very difficult day for me. But, I don't want to talk about that. Still, you guys is an escape for me. I do an NFL show as well. We recorded that, and it's been a really good day as far as that is concerned. But yeah, it's you, right? This is what we look forward to every Tuesday night: is getting to hang out and just chat good old fashioned LSU football. So yeah, Sheffling Andrea, you know how much I love you, man. I love these smiles. I would much rather use Sheffling Andrea in a PHL shirt. Let's see. Walker Moore Rashard. Walker Howard, Dante Moore, Jalen Rashada. I would much rather see their high school senior tape. I think, judging a quarterback when you've seen their senior compared to their juniors is a little difficult. I would still probably take Walker Howard because I think he has a little bit more dual threat ability. But man, dude, Dante Moore is an assassin, man. He can really freaking play. What's going on, Chris? I got the shirt. I got the cup, man. I've had a crappy day. I drink out of this cup. It makes me happy. This cup does provide me happiness. Anything you guys give or support to the channel just makes me so happy. This is legit the best cup I've ever had. I've had no leakage, no nothing. It's got like this little grip at the bottom. It's really cool. It's all good, man. It's all good. I could see this. I could see the Isaiah Simmons route for Harold Perkins. Yes and no, Pegasus. Since he's been playing varsity since 8th grade, it does concern you a little bit. Um, but let me say this. All right, let's do this. All right. So, and this is a question that I want to answer from you guys, and we'll get back into just whichever LSU topic you want to. Do you guys enjoy the deep dives, like the deep analytical breakdowns that we do, right? Because what happens is the videos that I spend, not as much time on turn out to be some of the most popular videos. But there are some videos that I do that require 2 days of research. Um, Today was my second day of research on a Trey Holly deep dive that I'm working on. So, would you guys want to watch that tomorrow? Okay, um, just let me know because I try my best to figure out what is the best day to release deep dives. Um, because they do require a lot of attention because there is a major red flag for Trey Holly, and it's nothing against Trey, but it's pretty wild. I discovered something today in my research that really blew me away, and the thing is, it's not really Trey Holly related. And I reached out to a few people that I trust, right? I talked to Jeremy Hill quite a bit about, running backs. And, he obviously gives me a lot of wisdom and he knows way more about it than I do. But it's very interesting which running backs actually turn out to be great at LSU and which ones don't, right? Like, I don't think anyone thought, and I know I talk about Jay Hill a lot on this channel, but he's always been one of my favorite players. And that was way before he and I became friends, which also kind of happened to be random as well. You guys know Jay Hill is, a PHLer. He drops in all the time. Um, it's interesting though because I don't think anyone thought Jeremy Hill would be as special as he was. The Fournette thing didn't really surprise anyone. Geis didn't really surprise anyone, but Jeremy Hill being as dominant as he was, Jacob Hester being as dominant as he was, and I was like, what is it? What do some of these guys have that the other guys don't? It's very interesting. Let's go to Max. So here's what we'll do. If I get it done tomorrow night, our normal Wednesday night 6 p.m. video, something will be released. I saw Aaron bring this up a minute ago. Aaron loves it all. There you go, Skipper. You're one of my top guys, and I really appreciate you. I do agree, and we'll talk about Jaden's mechanics here in just a second. I do believe there are some concerns about his intermediate passing game, and they did show up in the spring game. Let's go to Max's super chat. LFG, welcome back. I disagree with the poll question simply due to the fact that I don't know how you put a grade on a high school football player when they haven't played at these levels of football. The exceptions are guys like Clowney. Yeah, I agree with this as well. And, Max, to a certain degree, this goes back to Tevin's question. I do feel the senior high school tape is very interesting because what a senior high school football tape can tell you is how did this guy perform when really nothing was on the line for him, right? So when you're a sophomore or junior quarterback, you're trying your best to prove yourself. You're trying your best to get as much offers out there. You're trying to um, you're trying to dominate, your level of competition. You're trying to dominate these camps. Normally, by your junior season, you have all the offers that you're going to get up to that point. Normally, it's pretty much determined where you're going to go, right? So you make a really good point here, Max, on how we should evaluate senior tape. That's why I don't ever fully release my final rankings of guys in the state of Louisiana or just in general, right? So for me, for 2023, for instance, I'll give you my top two players in 2023. It is Shelton Sampson and Derek Williams. I have them higher than some of the other guys. I have Arch Manning in that 3-ish range right now. Zalance Hurd is also in my top 5. I think he's a really good high upside offensive line prospect out of Monroe, where Will Campbell played, Neville. So yeah, but once again, that's just very speculative on my part. We have not seen their senior tape yet. We've yet to see them at some of these 7-on-7 camps that are coming up. So there's a lot to be had out there. Very interesting because of so many 5-stars that don't pan out. Guys like Tyron that go totally on the radar are the best things since sliced bread in college football. And Max, you know me better than a lot of people on this channel. You've been with me for quite some time. It's crazy, right? How much I cheer for the Louisiana 3-star or the Louisiana under the radar guy. The Clydes, the Justins, Tyron ended up being a 4-star, but still, I cheer for those guys, the Jacob Hesters. So, because those guys dream of playing at LSU. Those guys are never guaranteed an offer. That's what I love about a Louisiana 3-star. They had that chip on their shoulder. A lot of you remembered Keith Sanchez, who worked for Ed Orgeron, who would bang on the table for the 3-star. He was a big Louisiana 3-star guy. And he shared those stories with us on his channel as one of the big-time recruiting staffers for LSU. He shared those stories with us. If you want to go listen, you can go listen. It was from NFL Draft Week, so the week before I went to Europe. So go check that out. Sanchez, he was a great interview. So yeah. What's going on? Ant agrees with me on 2 of them. Sampson, Hurd, and Holly. Good to see you, Ant. I love Shelton Sampson. I really do. 6'4" receiver who's lanky, but I think could put on some weight. Has a little Devonta Smith to him. Very interesting player. And obviously, we want Devonta Smith to play at LSU. Let's go. Sampson is a freak, though. He's got some. I don't know what it is. He's special. He's got pretty good speed, but contested catches, baby. You guys know I'm a sucker for those contested catches. Those long arms, baby. Let's see. But the talent gap between Clyde and TDP was pretty big. It was that year. I've got to say this, and I know I've kind of become a TDP sucker, but man, he was really good for us last year. I mean, I oftentimes say, what do you do when your back is against the wall? And I just give TDP a lot of credit, right? These past couple of seasons, John Emery just has not been a reliable guy, whether it be injuries or off the field stuff, whatever it may be. TDP's has had to pick up the weight, and all TDP did was deliver for us in crunch time again and again and again. That's all he did. And all we wanted to do last year was replace him with Corey Kiner, who's not even with the school anymore. I mean, TDP balled out last year, and I give him a lot of credit. But I do agree, 2019, there was a pretty sizable gap between Clyde and the next running back. Yeah. Sheldon's good. Sheldon's really good. Now, you know, part of my evaluation of Sheldon Samuelson as well, Aaron, is what history tells us, right? Look, I like to think of myself as a decent talent evaluator, but I also try my best to look at history. And what does history tell us about Louisiana wide receivers? That they are the best wide receiver prospects in the world. And LSU has not needed transfer portal wide receivers. They just haven't. And they haven't needed any other wide receivers outside of the state of Louisiana. So that to me is a crazy stat in and of itself. That LSU, who has lost some otherworldly talents out of the state of Louisiana, has still produced the best wide receivers in the country. And it's crazy. So that's why when I see a 5-star wide receiver, and also most of the wide receivers are from the South, South Louisiana, I say you just got to get them. You just do, because history proves that those guys turn out to be really good. Now, something that's really interesting, Aaron, is, and this is a Chris Hilton and Brian Thomas Jr. Comment right here. I do think Jack Besh and Malik are better right now than those two. Obviously, BTJ is a little bit closer to those two than Chris right now. What's very interesting, Aaron, is historically 2 out of every 3 Louisiana top 100 wide receivers make it to the NFL. And every single top 100 wide receiver since 2015 that is signed to play at LSU has made it to the NFL. So if you are a Chris Hilton and Brian Thomas Jr. believer, that stat does make you feel a little bit better about them taking the next step next year, or maybe year 3. You also kind of want more defensive linemen to commit because, in my opinion, pass rush is more important in today's football than DBs. Look at, oh man, Max, we get into this all the time. I do agree that pass rush is very important. I I, I just think defensive backs are just as important. You know, and the reason why I say that is just from a numbers standpoint, you have more defensive backs on the field than you do defensive linemen. And, you got to have 3 different types of defensive backs on the field at all times. And some of those can overlap, but a slot corner is different than an outside corner, and it's different than a safety. Uh, but still, I do agree. I mean, you got to have pass rushers as well. You really do. Let's see. What's up, Bo? Good to see you. Love that name, Bo Swindle. I wouldn't count us out of the Holstein sweepstakes. I know there's been just heavy Bama steam with that kid, but I mean, the quarterback's coach of LSU, Joe Sloan, recruited his older brother. I mean, that in and of itself lets you know that LSU is going to be in it. Yeah, it is kind of crazy, Michael. So to go one step further, LSU has had, well, it's changed this past year. So LSU has had 5 Pro Bowl wide receivers since 2011. Okay. Which is ridiculous, right? It's a lot. Uh, and those 5 players are Jarvis, Odell, Jamar, Justin. Okay, let's do this. Since Tyler's not here, let's do a little bit of trivia. The 5 Pro Bowl wide receivers are Jarvis, Odell, Jamar, Justin. Can you name the 5th Pro Bowl wide receiver LSU's had since 2011? Can you name the 5th? And while you guess that, let's check in on the poll question. Wow, Eli Holstein slightly beating out Arch Manning here on this poll, and Ricky Collins getting some love as well. Very interesting. Can you name the other Pro Bowl wide receiver? Russell Gage is a good guess. That is not true. Maybe Russell Gage maybe Russell Gage gets it next year with Tom Brady. Dwayne Bowe was a Pro Bowler, but since 2011. Well, I should have made it more clear, Cole. 2011 recruits. That's my bad. The answer is DJ Chark. So shout out to Blanche, Big Al, Donald, Michael. Aaron got it right too. Look at you. All right, I'm going to do a poll question here for Max. All right, so obviously Max is one of our top super chatters tonight, so I'm dedicating a poll question to him. Let's talk about the 5-star thing. All right, this topic gets brought up. LA Mom asked about my new SEC channel. I'm still working on putting all that together. That is coming up probably in a month or so. This is what I'll say about the 5-star thing. Okay. So Keith Sanchez talked about this as well, and I highly recommend you go check out our interview with him. It was kind of NFL draft related, but we talked about recruiting Justin Jefferson and all that stuff. Let me say this about the 5-star thing. It is true that a high percentage of 5-stars do get drafted really early. They are the best players more than likely. Sometimes, though, I think 5-stars are drafted because they are 5-stars, right? Teams draft them because they're like, well, maybe they just didn't pan out. Let's see how they work in the NFL, right? Also, something else about recruiting a 5-star is the leverage battle, especially now with the transfer portal being the way that it is. You do want to recruit the best players, but understand that those players have leverage. If they're a 5-star recruit, there's going to be every university after them during every offseason if things don't go according to plan in year one. So you could be in a scenario here where next offseason, LSU is not necessarily trying to recruit, David Hicks, who's a beast, 5-star in 2023. Um, they're trying to recruit Shamar Stewart. They're trying to recruit Walter Nolan, or they're trying to recruit a 5-star that didn't pan out somewhere else. That's the thing about 5-stars, is that they have leverage. It takes so much more to recruit them and get them to the university. And there he is. Our resident musician, Donovan, is here calling it out. LSU will have 1,000-yard receiver. Okay. 1,000-yard rusher. Okay. And at least 2 500-yard receivers this season. So very interesting. 1,000-yard rusher. TDP was a 1,000-yard rusher. Now, something to keep in mind is TDP got most of those yards in a few games, right? The Florida game, the Alabama game, when his rushing got better, but he did hit 1,000 yards. There's quite a few running backs at LSU that have hit 1,000 yards, right? Ali Broussard was at 992. I think Justin Vincent got 1,000. Jacob Hester got 1,000. Charles Scott got 1,000. Obviously, Jay Hill, Fournette, Geis, all got 1,000. So yeah, it happens more often than not, even, in a more passing league. Plenty of 1,000-yard running backs happen. Kayshawn, if he's healthy, he's a 1,000-yard receiver automatically. He could just breathe and he'd be a 1,000-yard receiver. At least 2 500-yard receivers, I could see that as well. I can. It's going to be tough, because I do think you'll see, BTJ, Malik, and Jack get a lot of targets this year, and then Dre mix in there as well. So yeah, I could see that. I can. I really can. Good to have you back, Donovan. Really appreciate you, man. Uh, really appreciate all you guys supporting the channel. And this is true. What's up, Carvis? Good to see you again as well, man. Okay. Tony, what's good? So I'll touch on the 5-star, 3-star thing. Okay. Yeah, Nicholas Percent also got 1,000 as well. Cole says stars don't matter. Comes down to character, if you ask me. So, do stars matter? Yes and no. Okay. The collective of stars matter. You have to recruit at a top 5 national level on aggregate to win national championships. It's just true. Okay. You can't be any lower than 10. Only Auburn was a school that did not aggregate a top 10 class or did not have a 50% or better blue chip ratio. You have to, as a team, it is a non-negotiable. There's no magic potion that can get you there unless you recruit at a top 10 level. So stars on the collective do matter. That's not up for debate. It's not. Now, do the absolute number 1 aggregate class win every year? No, but it matters. It just does. Now, for each individual player, it doesn't matter. You have to have the character. You have to have the determination. You have to have the want to. You have to have the actual talent. So individually, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now, we talk about this a lot. There are so many 3 stars in the NFL that dominate the league. Patrick Mahomes, Michael Thomas, Allen Robinson, uh, JJ Watt, Russell Wilson, the list goes on and on. At the same time, there are infinite amount of 3-star recruits and 2-star recruits. There's only a finite amount of 5 stars. So you have a smaller of 4 and 5 star than you do lower level 4 stars and 3 stars. So also, once again, individual player success comes down to so many different factors, in particular at the quarterback position, where players really do develop so wildly different than every others. So, you know, to say that 5 stars and 4 stars don't matter, they do. They really do. You have to recruit at a certain aggregate scale, but development matters. Your scheme matters. Your coaching matters. Your culture matters. All those things matter. So it's a mixture of both. It really is. LJ, what it do, baby? I love it, man. See, we got a bunch. Here you go, SG. I know off season is a very busy time. Here's the thing, okay? You don't have to apologize when you come back to the channel. You don't. All you have to do, if you're so busy working, is to super chat $100. That way I'm not mad at you for missing any live streams. Huh? 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 Buy a shirt. I'm just kidding. No, for real. It's the off season. We're all busy. We all have lives. We all have certain tragedies, right? Um, look, once again, I know I just got back from Europe. You guys know about King Robert, leaving us. I think about him every day since, every time I talk about him or start this channel, I'm thinking about King Robert. Um, it's tough, right? But you guys are my escape. At the same time, you guys are what I get to do for a full-time job, this channel. So, I understand you guys get busy, but I love it when you come back to the channel. I really do. Uh, yeah, I agree with this show as well, Max. And it, you know, the first part of this is really true though, because how much does a single 5-star defensive lineman truly move the needle? They do. Like, for instance, Will Anderson, if Alabama didn't have Will Anderson, they obviously don't make the run that they make last year, right? If Georgia doesn't get Jalen Carter, they're not as good as or Travon Walker. They're not as good, right? So yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but I do agree with this. The simping and the over emphasis on getting the the 5 stars can drive you nuts, and it can also be a net negative. Like, for instance, uh, here's a specific example of this. LSU really wanted Zach Evans, who's now at Ole Miss. He's a really special talent. He's probably the best running back prospect in that class. And LSU tried their best to get that young man, but there was just red flags galore. Like, he was he was just a red flag galore. But Ed Orgeron wanted him so bad, and we almost came up empty handed at running back. And lucky enough, we were able to get Trey at the last second. LJ Johnny, thank you so much for the super chats, guys. Johnny says, "Congratulations." Thank you so much. And shout out Johnny and Gail. Johnny. Also, shout out to LJ for the super chat. Appreciate you, man. So we got here. Cosmos, good to see you. Yes, Aaron. We did lose King Robert. Think about him every day. I really do. I talk to him. I texted him so often. From LJ, Cardell Thomas will have a 5-star year. I hope you are right about that. Cosmos, Johnny 5. Yeah, just keep praying for King Robert, and yeah, it's tough. So like today, I'm always open with you guys in my personal life. I might start crying again. I did lose one of my best friends to cancer as well this week. She was my running coach. She was my biggest supporter in comedy and just everything. She was one of my best buddies. So cancer sucks. I could say so many different things about it. Sucks. So I've been gutted all day about it, and I was looking forward to this live stream because it's my escape from that. So it sucks. I hate it. We've all had a lot of people in our lives die of this dreaded disease, and it just sucks. It really does suck, man. And some of you are currently in the fight, right? Now I won't say who. I see some of you in here right now. It just sucks. And I'm with you 1000%. Yeah, it's true. Like I'm still kind of shocked at but getting back into LSU stuff. I'm still kind of shocked that Trey's still committed, right? I really am. So we were lucky. That Zach Evans thing was just so fascinating. Where you read some of the stories about his recruitment, it was all over the place, and then he was suspended from his own state championship game because he wouldn't put his phone down or something like that. But man, Zach Evans is good. He is really, really good at football. But yeah, appreciate you, Doc. Appreciate you, Aaron. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Max. It sucks, man. It sucks. But yeah, she was the best. Let's see here. Johnny, you get to pick the next topic. LJ wants to talk some Cardell Thomas. So let's switch up the poll question. Look, defensive line actually won this poll. Zach Evans did turn out to be really good in his defense. Let's see. All right, LJ, this poll question is for you. Yeah, I also think this is going to be true as far as like the NFL draft is concerned. Like, for instance, Brees Hall would have been a first round pick every other year except this year. But now the NFL is so smart, they know to not use first round draft capital on a running back. So I am not sure if we're ever going to see more than one running back selected in the first round ever again. It's going to be rare if you ever see a running back uh, get drafted in the first round. So, so yeah. So KMC, good to see you. Big say so. I appreciate you, man. It's good to see you around again, man. Appreciate you, Skipper. You're always in my corner. Same thing for Jared. Same thing for Aaron. A lot of my diehards. I appreciate you being with me. Yeah, it sucks. I've cried like a baby all day, so I'm not going to do it again here. But man, it sucks. It really, really does. But yeah, gotta have that D line right so the secondary can succeed. Pegasus says, I think you'll see 2 next year. So Jahmyr Gibbs and Zach Evans. Man, I remember Jahmyr Gibbs coming out, and there's like tweets out. I still have tweets out there about this. I was like, how is Jahmyr Gibbs not a 5-star? Like, his high school tape was in freaking sane, and he went to Georgia Tech, and they sucked. I was still shocked he went to Georgia Tech. The guy that I liked a lot, who I think is going to be really special, and it could just be my eval is off. I get a lot of things wrong in my high school evals. There's some guys that I'm higher on. There's some guys I'm not as high on. For me, that guy is Trevante Citizen. I think he's going to be really good. I really do. Especially, he goes to Miami where they have Mario Cristobal, and Cristobal's lines are always good. And I just think Citizen's going to be really good. I really wish LSU got him. That's a good question here from Chris. How many 5-star quarterbacks are starting in the NFL? All right, let's go down the list. Ironically, a lot of them are younger, right? So let's see. Davis Mills was a 5-star. Justin Fields was a 5-star. Trevor Lawrence was a 5-star. And there's not many 5-star quarterbacks. That's a pretty high percentage of 5-star quarterbacks that are starters. See, Cam Newton was a 5-star. He just is out of the league. Deshaun Watson was a 5-star, right? But yeah, there are a lot of 3-star quarterbacks, and a lot of them do dominate. Matthew Stafford, yeah. Tua, Jameis. So yeah, quite a few 5-star quarterbacks. Stafford, Fields, Mills, Tua, Jameis. Was Deshaun Watson a 5-star composite? But Stafford, Fields, Mills, Tua, Jameis, Trevor Lawrence. Thank you, Friday Night Mid-Show Pin. Let's go to Big Say So. What's a position group you think will surprise this year? Also, BTJ is taking that leap this year. Let's hope so. So let's start with the second one here. BTJ is taking that leap this year. So for me, there are different types of receivers. I do think I do think Jack Besh is better than BTJ, but they do different things. So if Kayshawn is fully healthy, and I don't think you could take Jack Besh off the field because of, third down conversion rate and all that good stuff, then it comes down to what the rotation is going to look like after those two. I do think LSU is going to run a tighter rotation. I also think LSU's best rotation will be a mixture of Kayshawn, Jack, BTJ, Malik, and Jure. If they stick with those five, LSU's wide receivers are going to be really good. Now, that's not me saying Chris Hilton and Kyron Lacey can't get into that mix, but we'll see. What's a position group you think will surprise us this year? This is a good question. I think one position that I think is I think one position that might be a little overvalued could be the defensive line. And I say that because it's going to take some time figuring out what your best rotation is going to be, right? I think for me, I'm a little worried about their run fits, but obviously that's a really deep position group and they'll be fine. I think one group that could be underrated for LSU that could surprise us next year. Hopefully quarterback. Hopefully quarterback surprises us because that means we're going to be winning a lot of games. I'm going to go with defensive back. I think we'll be a little better there than what I initially thought. But we'll see about that. Hopefully linebacker is one of those positions. But that's a really good question. That's one of the best questions tonight. And thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate you. I'll put it up again. What is a position group you think will surprise us this year? Hopefully quarterback. Hopefully quarterback. Friday Night Pin. Okay. So back to the 3-star, 5-star thing. And then we'll move on together as a topic. I actually do agree with Bang Hammers here. I think he is. I know a lot of you are pushing back against Bang Hammers. So I know there's a debate in the chat right now between 5-star quarterbacks and 3-star quarterbacks. There is an infinite supply of 3-star quarterbacks, right? Infinite. There's everybody is 3-star or lower. That's not a 4-star or 5-star, right? So every year there's only 3-ish 5-star quarterbacks. Every year there's only 3 or 4. Okay. So if there's only 4 or 5-star quarterbacks, then over the past, 10 years, there's only 45-star quarterbacks out there. Whereas 3-star quarterbacks, there's a lot. There's like 25 to 50 3-star quarterbacks every year that are rated. So if we know that quarterback evaluations are very often high school, and we know quarterback is a position that is very mental, and we know that the human brain doesn't quit developing until the age of 25, then there's going to be a lot of variance at that position. So even with that said, there are still a lot of 5-star quarterbacks in the NFL that not only start, but are backups, right? A lot of them, honestly. What's the kid from Texas A&M that transferred to Houston is still in the league. Matt Barkley is still a 5-star quarterback who's a backup in the league. So there's still a lot of 5-star quarterbacks in the league, and they probably hit at the same clip as 3-star quarterbacks who make in the league. Now, for the most part, there are more elite 3-star quarterbacks in the NFL or middle tier 4-star quarterbacks. Herbert was a 3-star, Mahomes was a 3-star, Rodgers was a 3-star. There's a lot. Well, Rodgers probably wasn't rated, but there's a lot of 3-star quarterbacks that are the best in the league. There just is Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, but still, there is still a ridiculous clip of 5-star quarterbacks who make it to the NFL. So yes, the ranking system is overall inaccurate. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes the best quarterback is rated the 5-star quarterback. Sometimes they're not. But for the most part, the star ranking system is accurate. It is. Now, it's a very inexact science. There's a lot that I disagree with. I'm not a big time conspiracy theorist. I do believe there is something, though, to the Bama bump. There's a lot about these star ranking systems that are all over the place, and it does not affect you individually, but at the same time, for the most part, they do get it right. They do. So, apparently, this is how most arguments work in the. So, Pegasus and Chris are making the same point, but in slightly different ways. So, there you go. Well, all right, guys, we are approaching 2 hours here. Really appreciate all your generosity. So we touched on so many different topics tonight. Obviously, live streams are the absolute best. It's because uh it's fun. Huh? 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 Uh you guys were such a big boost for me today. I wouldn't have got through today if it wasn't for you. Me looking forward to the live stream. Really do mean that. Once again, we want to say thank you to our friends at the Pressy Collection, pressycollection.com. But for the next 5 minutes, we will answer as many possible questions as we can, LSU football related. Or if you want to talk about whatever, I'm down to talk about whatever. Okay. Let's see what the Heat killing the Celtics. No surprise there. Celtics played a game 7, and Al Horford did not dress out tonight. Let's see. So, yeah, I mean, the Heat were always going to win this. Let's see here. Let's talk about Drew Brees coming back. All right, so I'm wearing my Drew Brees shirt tonight. He's going to pay me today, and I said it on my NFL show today. Um, I think we need to realize something about Drew Brees here, right? So Drew Brees is a smaller quarterback, and he was truly counted out, right? He had the surgery, and the Miami thing didn't happen, and he ends up going to the Saints. So he's always had this chip on the shoulder, and he's always going to be just this competitive son of a gun, right? Do I truly believe Drew Brees is coming back? No. He just had surgery in Baton Rouge on cleaned some stuff up on his shoulder or whatever. I don't think he's coming back. But I do feel Tom Brady drives him insane. And he would be driving me insane too. Now, insane's kind of a strong word, but I do think Brady's success and Brady shattering all these records because of his longevity and Brady ending your career on your home field and Brady coming to your division and dominating the division, all the while your coach was secretly rumored to be going to the Miami Dolphins with Tom Brady, the team that passed you up. And at the same time, Tom Brady gets the sweetest broadcasting deal in the history of sports while you are traveling to South Bend, Indiana to call crappy Notre Dame games. That would bother the living daylights out of me if I was super competitive. So Drew Brees sees the Saints making all these moves and he sees Tom Brady continuing on. I could see why Drew Brees would release a tweet to say, "Look, maybe I should make a comeback. Maybe I should try to do it. I see one of my top rivals is still playing, and there's probably a piece of Drew Brees that feels even worse that he was robbed of his opportunity to play Brady at the game's highest stage in 2018." So, yeah, I mean, I'd feel some type of way about it too. And I get it, not really dominating the division. The Saints have gone, what, 4-0 against them in the division. So, true, but they did win the division 2 years in a row. So, I'm just sharing from Drew Brees' perspective. If you were where he was, who cares you had the millions of dollars? Who cares you own all these businesses and you're making gazillions of more dollars? If you are super competitive and that competitive drive got you to where you are today, you feel some type of way. You feel some type of way. Breeze and Romo when Mahomes isn't playing. Uh, Re-ask this question, Max. Thank you for the super chat again. I really appreciate it. Egg the Stallion story is uh, never ignored. But I also think, when you become announcer wise. Oh yeah, I'll take Tony Romo over Drew Brees as an announcer. LA Mom, yeah. So you asked about the SEC channel. I'm still working on it. How I want it to sound, how I want it to look. Yeah, and he's done. You know what Brady's doing? I don't know how many quarterbacks are going to play until they're 45 or whatever. You can't, Bang. You just can't. The thing is, Drew Brees has made all this money. He's probably gotten to do all the rich people stuff that he wants to do. Football, he just wants to play, right? That's just what he wants to do. Huh? 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 I I I just think I just think this Brady stuff's driving him nuts. I really do. And 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 that's just crazy to me. Uh, but if I was Drew, I'm one of those guys. I'm super competitive myself. It would bother me. It would bother me that all those things are happening. Oh, thank you so much. A little extra super chat. Thank you so much. I If I got a 199 super chat from everyone, I would be feeling great inside. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But yeah, as Charles points out, he wouldn't be ready until October anyway. One beautiful pup, doggos. Yeah, I don't think the Saints would want Drew Brees back. I really don't. I think that they would want to just roll with Jameis. I think if Drew went somewhere, he would have to go, somewhere else. Chris, I'm out of punch. Love the cup, man. It's so cool. Yeah, it just sucks for Drew, and I don't for him, right? He's lived a better life than most of us could ever dream of, right? He's got healthy kids. He's able to coach the kids. He's able to still walk. I I I just know it sucks for him that Brady is just doing all these things right in his face. Like just every last little thing this guy is just one up in you. It, that just sucks. It just sucks. It's hard to just run your race sometimes. And you guys know how this works. You've all seen this in different fields. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just run your race. Be as successful as you possibly can. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I don't feel bad for him other than that, right? Other than that little thing. I would feel a little sour too with all this Brady stuff. I just would. Like imagine when Drew saw the $25 million deal for Brady. I'm sure he was like, "Wait, you mean to tell me that this guy who's still playing while I'm flying to South Bend, freaking Indiana to call college games, has never called a game, and they write him a $25 million check a year to call games when they've never heard him call a game before." If Jameis goes down, I hope they call him John Drake Kirkland. Isaac, this is a question. I love talking old school LSU. Do you have a favorite LSU team of all time? So I don't know if you're here, Isaac, or not. On Thursday for the live stream, I will share my favorite LSU quarterbacks of all time, and I will happily answer this question on Thursday. Just remind me to answer it on Thursday. That is called a tease. But the answer, of course, is the legendary, and I mean legendary, 2020 LSU Tigers. Let's go. 5-5, baby. Let's go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for all the super chats, and the generosity goes a long way. We'll see you on Thursday. We will have some video up tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! And tonight, what's up, Carl? It's all good, baby. Tonight we're doing some frozen pizza tonight. Let's go.